Always Bears on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears confirm growing rumor about possible roster move. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. First and foremost, Bears fans, happy Wednesday to every single one of you guys. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode of Keek on the Mic. As always, I appreciate all the love and support you guys continue to show the channel, all the engagement you show me on every single video. It's very humbling. It definitely keeps me going. Even on the days that I don't really want to post Bears content, you guys keep Keek on the Mic going. So I appreciate every single one of you guys. So as you guys know, the Chicago Bears have set their initial 53-man roster, but there is still a whole lot of work to do. One of the areas of need for the Chicago Bears still is the running back position. Ryan Poles did address the media yesterday prior to saying that initial 53-man roster. And one of the questions that came up is the running back depth on the current roster. Currently, they kept 3 running backs in DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai, and Roschon Johnson. But the problem is that Roschon Johnson and Kyle Monangai are both hurt. Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson have reiterated time and time again that those injury timelines seem pretty positive, that those two guys shouldn't be out for too long. But it's still a major concern. Yesterday in practice, DeAndre Swift was the only running back out there. It was to the point where the trainers or the coaches were taking handoffs from Caleb Williams and the rest of the quarterbacks. So Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears have a little bit of dilemma. They're going to have to go out there and make a move. And Ryan Poles actually confirmed that rumor that, hey, this running back room will look a little bit different. When he addressed the media yesterday, he said this group should look very different as we move forward. So with that being said, that means Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears are actively looking at the waiver wire, which they are currently 10th on that waiver wire list. So they could possibly add some reassurance there, or they can maybe look via trade as well. So on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, let's look at some couple options, not only on the waiver wire, but maybe an option via trade as well, just to bring some possible reassurance to the running back room. So DeAndre Swift is not the only running back on the roster, because at the moment, yes, we have Kyle Monangai. Yes, we have Roschon Johnson, but they're not being really clear on when those guys are actually going to return or if they're going to be available for that week 1 matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. So the first player on my mind that could make a lot of sense for the Chicago Bears is Carson Steele. Carson Steele was released from the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, obviously they're dealing with a crowded backfield over there. He is still only 22 years old. And this is a guy that runs really hard, really good kid, can also help in pass protection as well. Just wasn't really awarded a huge role or opportunity over there with the Kansas City Chiefs. They played a hefty role as a special teamer, but in terms of getting a lot of handoffs or a lot of action on the offense, just wasn't there, just due to the circumstances of being a part of that loaded backfield. But in 2024, he did get 56 carries, 483 yards. Once again, still 22 years old, runs really hard. Good player, right? I think if he has more of a role, maybe he can shock some people. So maybe the Chicago Bears consider getting Carson Steele off waivers. I'm a guy that I think I would definitely be interested in, just to bring some reassurance behind DeAndre Swift. Another guy that I really like, and this is dating back all the way to his Notre Dame days, and that is Audric Estime. He got a little bit of playing time last season with the Denver Broncos, but obviously the Broncos brought in J.K. Dobbins. They drafted R.J. Harvey. So they opted to, let go Audric Estime. I still think Estime is an outstanding football player. Once again, he is a bruiser back, downhill runner. Kind of reminds me a little bit of what we have in Roschon Johnson, still only 21 years old. Last season and some reps with the Denver Broncos offense. In 2024, he had 76 carries, 310 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Once again, I think it's just another back to bring in for reassurance to be a true complement to a guy like DeAndre Swift. And obviously, it just depends on how long Kyle Monangai and Roschon Johnson are out. Another name that, this would be kind of nostalgic. It's a familiar name, and that is Khalil Herbert. He was released by the Indianapolis Colts. So, even though he was not part of the Ben Johnson era, this is the guy that Ryan Poles has familiarity with, the guy that, still probably has some connections within this locker room as well. I've always been a big fan of Khalil Herbert and how he's played the game and how he ran. I know he had a lot of success under Luke Getsy, but I think this is a guy that can come in and just once again give us some reassurance while we're waiting for Monangai and Roschon Johnson to come back and to me be a solid running back 2 option behind DeAndre Swift. So Khalil Herbert is definitely another option in regard to the waiver wire. If the Chicago Bears wanted to maybe look for a trade, I know that the Jacksonville Jaguars are currently shopping a guy by the name of Tank Bigsby. A guy that, Bears fans would rally around. This guy is a really good running back. He's a strong downhill runner once again. Could be a passing back as well. But in 2024 had 218 carries, 766 yards, and 7 rushing touchdowns. He is still only 22 years old. It would probably cost the Bears next to nothing to get a guy like this. And even if you're able to get Tank Bigsby and bring back either Monangai or Johnson, I think Tank Bigsby makes your running back room better. I think he would be a perfect complement to DeAndre Swift. I know there's going to be a lot of Bears fans saying, well, I don't really want to, give up draft capital, but I really do think Tank Bigsby would cost probably like a 5th or 6th round pick. And once again, you're getting to me, a very dynamic downhill runner that runs very angry. So once again, just a perfect complement to what we already have in DeAndre Swift. So I trust Ryan Poles. I trust Ben Johnson to go out there and just add some reassurance. We're not asking for a huge name. We just have to add some reassurance. Here is the interesting part about Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears in this running back situation. They cut Ian Wheeler, they cut Britton Brown, and they also cut Royce Freeman. So that means all those guys were not up to Ben Johnson's standard. And even with Ian Wheeler, to me, he had a really good preseason, but he still got cut. So that tells you right there that, Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears are still looking for upgrades or some people to bring into the running back room to make this room a whole lot better, right? So right now, as it stands, we have DeAndre Swift, we have Roschon Johnson, and we have Kyle Monangai. But once again, we got to bring in some reassurance with Kyle Monangai and Roschon being hurt and not really knowing the timeline of when those guys are coming back. So overall, Bears fans, let me know down below in the comment section if you agree with a couple of names that I listed of possible targets on the waiver wire, maybe a trade target to add to the running back room. If you agree with me, let me know down below. But also, let me also know what targets would you like the Bears to add in regards to the running back room. I cannot wait to hear from you guys. But Bears fans, before I let you guys go on today's episode of Keek on the Mic, the Chicago Bears are also making a huge shift in regard to the offensive line. That's in regard to Karan Amagaji. Also, during his press conference yesterday, Ryan Poles did note that they have started putting Karan Amagaji inside at the guard position, which is a huge shift for him. It definitely lets you know Ben Johnson and the offensive coaching staff's plans for Karan Amagaji, because at the beginning of training camp, it was a three-man race between Audrey Trapillo, Braxton Jones, and Karan Amagaji for the left tackle spot. And just like Ryan Pohl said, that all these guys kind of hit like a plateau. He said Audrey Trapillo hit like that rookie wall. Obviously, Karan Amagaji got hurt in training camp as well, and then he was kind of struggling with the speed rush. And I think Karan Amagaji has all the talent in the world, but I think his talent could be more utilized on the interior. He has a lot of power. He has a lot of athleticism as well. And I think if you're sitting behind a guy like Joe Tooney or Jonah Jackson, that can help a young player like Karan Amagaji. And I think he can be an outstanding depth piece, right? And I know Ryan Poles tried to spin it saying, well, hey, we are just trying to add to Karan's versatility, but we all know the real reason why they're pushing him inside, because he wasn't really doing that well at the left tackle spot. If we have an emerging situation where maybe Braxton Jones goes down, maybe Audrey Trapillo goes down, maybe even if Theo Benedict is not available, then yes, we would have to put Karan Amagaji. And I think having that versatility will be huge for a guy like him. But I do think he's more of a natural fit on the interior. And once again, learning from a all-pro, future Hall of Famer and Joe Thuney, and to me, a very solid player, and Jonah Jackson will only benefit Karan Amagaji. And I think it's only going to benefit this offensive line as well, because if he's groomed to develop properly, he can be a future starter once maybe Joe Thuney hangs up the cleats, and you already have a reassurance backup option that can step in and play at a high level if developed the right way in Karan Amagaji. So to me, absolutely love the switch that Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles have made with Karan Amagaji. And once again, wishing him nothing but the best. And hopefully he can become an all-pro player at that position. So Bears fans, do you guys agree with that move that Karan Amagaji has moved inside to play the guard position? Or do you think he needs to continue to work and hopefully get back to playing, hopefully that left tackle spot that the Bears desperately need? Let me know down below in the comment section. But as always, make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for all new Bears podcasts right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right.